The hidden power of silence. What Stoicism teaches about mystery. Have you ever noticed how the loudest people in the room are rarely the most memorable? It's often the quiet one, the person who speaks little, yet somehow commands attention, the person whose presence feels heavier than their words. In a world obsessed with constant expression, endless updates, and the pressure to explain ourselves, silence has become a forgotten language. And yet, silence may be one of the greatest forms of power a human being can possess. Not because silence makes you invisible, but because it makes people wonder. And what people cannot fully understand, they cannot easily control. Today, we will explore the psychological power of remaining silent and mysterious, and why the ancient Stoics believed that mastering your words was one of the highest forms of self-mastery. Because sometimes the strongest statement is the one you never make. Imagine a calm lake at dawn. Its surface is still. Nothing moves. Nothing demands attention. Yet somehow your eyes remain fixed upon it. There is a strange force in stillness, a silent gravity. Human beings are drawn to mystery in exactly the same way. Psychologists have long understood something called the information gap. When people know a little about something, but not everything, their minds become restless. Curiosity awakens, questions multiply, attention deepens. The unknown becomes irresistible. This is why unfinished stories stay in our minds, why unanswered messages occupy our thoughts, why certain people remain unforgettable. When someone reveals everything about themselves immediately, the mystery disappears. There is nothing left to discover, nothing left to imagine. But when a person speaks thoughtfully, reveals themselves gradually, and does not constantly seek validation, they create space. And within that space, curiosity grows. Silence becomes magnetic, not because silence is manipulation, but because restraint is rare, and rarity creates value. The modern world teaches the opposite. It tells us to share every opinion, broadcast every achievement, reveal every emotion, explain every decision. We are encouraged to turn our inner lives into public performances, yet the more we reveal, the less power our words possess. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, understood this deeply. He wrote, "Be mostly silent or speak merely what is necessary." Think about that for a moment. Not because speaking is bad, not because communication lacks importance, but because words lose weight when they are used carelessly. A person who speaks constantly teaches others to ignore them. A person who speaks deliberately teaches others to listen. Every unnecessary word dilutes the impact of the necessary ones. The Stoics understood that self-control begins with the tongue. Because if you cannot govern your speech, how can you govern your mind? There is another psychological reason silence feels powerful. It signals emotional stability. Consider two people facing criticism. The first reacts instantly, defends themselves, explains everything, argues, tries desperately to change how others perceive them. The second remains calm. They listen. They pause. They respond only when necessary. Who appears stronger? Most people instinctively choose the second. Why? Because emotional reactions often reveal dependence on external approval. Silence, on the other hand, communicates something profound. It says, "I do not need to convince everyone. I do not need immediate validation. I am comfortable with uncertainty." This is one of the central ideas of Stoicism. The Stoics believed that peace comes when we stop trying to control what lies outside ourselves. Other people's opinions belong to them. Your character belongs to you. And character is built not through endless explanation, but through consistent action. There is a reason kings, generals, philosophers, and wise leaders throughout history often spoke less than those around them. Silence creates observation, and observation creates understanding. When you speak, you repeat what you already know. When you listen, you encounter something new. Most people enter conversations focused on being heard. The Stoic seeks first to understand. This is why silence sharpens perception. You begin noticing hidden motives, subtle emotions, unspoken tensions. You see what others miss because you are not occupied with performing. The silent mind becomes an observant mind, and the observant mind becomes a powerful one. But let us be clear. Being mysterious is not the same as being cold. It is not about arrogance. It is not about pretending to be important. True mystery emerges naturally from inner completeness. People who constantly seek attention usually do so because they need something from others. Approval, recognition, validation. But a person who has learned to stand comfortably within themselves possesses a different energy. They do not feel compelled to reveal everything. They do not rush to prove their worth. They understand a profound truth. What is valuable does not beg to be noticed. A diamond does not announce itself. A mountain does not advertise its height. The ocean does not explain its depth. Their presence is enough, and so is yours. Perhaps the greatest power of silence is that it protects your inner world. Every dream spoken too early becomes vulnerable to doubt. Every ambition shared carelessly becomes exposed to judgment. The Stoics advised protecting the mind from unnecessary disturbance, not because the world is evil, but because your attention is precious. Imagine carrying a flame through a storm. Would you expose it recklessly, or would you shield it until it becomes strong enough to withstand the wind? Your goals, your vision, your personal growth. These flames deserve protection. Sometimes silence is not weakness. Sometimes silence is wisdom, guarding what matters most. And yet, there is one final lesson. Silence alone is not power. Silence combined with purpose is power. Anyone can say nothing. Few can remain silent while building themselves. Few can remain quiet while developing discipline, while strengthening character, while pursuing excellence away from applause. The Stoics never advocated passive withdrawal. They advocated intentional action. The goal is not to become invisible. The goal is to become so grounded within yourself that external noise loses its influence. To speak because you choose to, not because you feel compelled to. To act because it aligns with your values, not because it earns attention. That is freedom, and freedom is the ultimate Stoic ideal. So the next time you feel the urge to explain yourself to everyone, pause. The next time you feel pressure to reveal every plan, pause. The next time you feel compelled to prove your worth, pause. Remember this: the sun does not announce its rise. The moon does not seek approval to shine, and the deepest rivers make the least noise. There is immense power in being understood by few and guided by yourself. In a world addicted to noise, choose depth, choose restraint, choose presence, and discover what the Stoics knew thousands of years ago. The strongest person in the room is often not the one speaking. It is the one who has mastered the art of silence. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Do you think silence is a form of power, or has modern society forgotten its value? Until next time, stay calm, stay disciplined, and keep walking the Stoic path.